Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater. Out to short. And it's booted off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Gone! Grant Fournier! Two-run shot to right! Here from our CSJ, it's our second of 4 games today here at the Rowan College of South Jersey Roadrunners Athletic Complex. It's Brookdale versus Middlesex in the first game of the, well, second round. The play-in was done on Wednesday and Thursday, and now this weekend, leading up to Mother's Day, we've got ourselves 4 more games. Our CSJ beat Northampton 11-3 in Game 1. Meanwhile, Brookdale will be sending their right-hander, Jules Hart, from Union Catholic on the hill today. 137 innings for her, a 2.04 ERA, and 155 strikeouts. Could be a strikeout-heavy performance today. Let's take a look at what Middlesex has lined up, presented by Harper Driving School. For the Colts, it's going to be Mackenzie Marsh at second base, Leah Arapitis in center field, Madison Rackett, the pitcher, Samira Ortiz is the third baseman. Gianna Rios is behind the plate. Carla Seyfarth is the first baseman. Kelsey Gertz is the shortstop. Jelena Santiago in left and Ava Austin in right. Game 2 of 4 on the day is underway right on time as there's a strike called. 0-1. This is the 2-3 game. Brookdale, the 2 spot. They actually had the best overall record in the conference at a .775 win percentage. There's a swing and a miss. However, even though they were 31-9, 1 game better than our CSJ, they had a worse region record at 19-5, 2 games under the Roadrunners. Hence why our CSJ for this Final Four was the number 1 seed. Middlesex is at 26-8 on the campaign. 16-8 in the region. Tied with Northampton, but Middlesex, with a variety of other factors, got the upper hand. That's a swing and a miss. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. She goes down on strikes. So here's Capardis as Marsh goes down on strikes to start the game for the Colts. Marsh, Kapaitis, and Rackett, the pitcher, first 3 for Middlesex here in the top of the first. Here's the 0-1. Skips in there, 1-1 here. Karpatis out of Woodbridge High School, the sophomore, batting .411 in her Swan Song campaign with the Colts. 23 RBIs, 23 stolen bases. The count is 2-2. Played in 27 games last year. This is her 35th game of the season. 64 hits across 2 seasons, 7 extra base hits, and a career .400 hitter. That one's fouled back. Still 2-2. versus Jules Hart, the freshman, again out of Union Catholic. A major in early childhood education for Brookdale. 2-2. That one's high, 3-2. 1.33 whip and a 2.04 ERA, 17-4. This is her 22nd start of the year and her 24th appearance. So she has made 2 non-starting appearances this season. That will be ball 4. It's a very good rebound by Kripatis. Brings up the number 3 hitter for the Colts, as Rackett, the pitcher, will face her counterpart in an opponent form on the mound. Rackett, also a product out of Woodbridge, home of the Barons. Kind of a copycat of the Wisconsin Badgers logo, but Rackett, a .459 hitter at the plate, another sophomore for a seasoned Middlesex team. 2 homers, 32 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases this year. Homered on opening day versus Bergen, as this one's laced into right center field for a base hit. That runner's going to get to third. It's picked up in center. Runner will slide over to the corners now, as after a hot start to the inning, Kripatis walks and Rackett singles to cause some racket in the Middlesex order, and we get a 1-out base hit. This now brings up the number 4 hitter, Samira Ortiz. Manning the hot corner for the Colts this afternoon, as that one skips low. You're not going to be able to guess where Samira Ortiz is from. Woodbridge. That's 3 in a row for the Colts here. 6 homers, though, .330 average and 31 RBIs. And it's 1-1. There's a strike called. And I mean, to be entirely fair, Woodbridge has been one of the best teams in the Greater Middlesex Conference for the last couple of years. They went 11-7 last year under new head coach Mike Jago, made it and lost in the first round of North Jersey Section 2 Group 4. There's a swing and a miss. Good heat outside, and Ortiz goes down on strikes for the second out of the inning, bringing up Gianna Rios. 5th hitter of the inning for Middlesex. They've got 2 runners in scoring position, runners on second and third. First pitch, swing and a miss, 0-1. Outside, changeup goes in the other box, and it's 1-1. Gianna Rios is from Woodbridge, the town, but not from high school. Not from Woodbridge High School. She did go to Iceland Kennedy High School, also a member of the GMC Conference. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. No runs across here so far in the first. And that one is outside. Rios, the freshman, again out of Iceland Kennedy. She has a .422 average, 42 RBI. A lot of heavy hitters here for the Colts as they look to outslug the Jersey Blues, but not before a 3-strikeout first inning by Jules Hart. The side is retired, and now Brookdale will send their first 3 to the plate in the bottom of the first in Game 2 of this 4-game Final Four. Bottom of the first. It's a little bit hard to tell on the camera, but yes, that is a baseball game going on in the background. Great zoom there on our Panasonic as Montgomery is playing the Roadrunners in the quarterfinals. Honestly, we could just set up in the softball booth and have a baseball game in the background, but instead, first pitch of the bottom of the first is hit out to center field. It's off the bottom of the wall. Brookdale's going to have extra bases. They're going to get their leadoff runner to third as Jillian Fay sets the tone with a leadoff triple in the bottom of the first. And that's before we can even introduce our starting lineups for the Jersey Blues, presented by Harper Driving School. For Brookdale, again, Jillian Fay is the shortstop. Juliana Hart is the pitcher. She'll be followed up by Jalen Campbell in center field, Audria Lowe at first base, Jessica Fay behind the plate, followed by Maya Bonilla at second, Jade Pavlik at third, Camila Esposito in left field, and Emma Zazzarino in center. That will score a run for Brookdale. RBI single. And the Jersey Blues are nothing but blue. They're red hot here in the first. A triple to lead off the ball game, and then Hart drives her home immediately on an RBI single. It's 1-0, bringing up Campbell. You'll find a lot of Shore Conference products out of Brookdale. Ooh. Third base coach not happy that the runner didn't go there. Bit of a slower reaction behind the plate by Gianna Rios to pick up the ball, but nonetheless, Brookdale keeps the runner on first. Pretty cut and dry there. Campbell out of Old Bridge High School. Misses high. Count will be 1-1. 380 hitter, 1 homer, 37 RBIs, and 24 stolen bases. That one's fouled back, and it's 1-2. Major in radiology out of Old Bridge. I like when the colleges have those majors and accolades, you know, to get a little bit more into the personal side. As there's a pop-up over towards second. Oh, she missed it. It went right through, and everybody's going to reach. Oh, no. That was a big mistake that time, and still nobody on the board. Or no outs on the board, I should say, as Lowe will be the batter for Brookdale, the left-hander. Out of Neptune High School, another Shore Conference product, one of the smaller Shore Conference schools, as that one misses. There's a little contingency of up there, like right near Asbury Park. There's a lot of really small high schools up in that area. Henry Hudson, Keensburg, Keyport, Point Pleasant Beach. I mean, Point Pleasant Borough is a Group 2, but then Point Pleasant Beach is smaller than some of the high schools in South Jersey. Neptune is one of them up there. Asbury Park High School itself, not too large. But a nice little group of high schools up there that are all mostly Group 1s. New Egypt as well. I mean, they recently joined the Shore Conference last year, leaving the BCSL and joining the Shore, as that is a nice looping curveball, but it just misses outside 2-2. Lowe out of Bradley Beach, a .441 hitter. She certainly hit the ball out of the yard a lot of times this season, 8 of them, 61 RBIs, and 31 stolen bags. That's not out of the ballpark, but it is out of the infield. It's in the center. Coming in to score will be Hart, as the pitcher scores to officially boost her own cause. It's an RBI single for Audra Lowe, and it is 2-0 Jersey Blues. It does move Campbell to third, as now Jessica Fay is the batter for the Jersey Blues. She bunts, pulls back. The runner a little bit hesitant to go to second, but no contest from Middlesex. And they'll allow that runner to move freely. I mean, you'll see, again, that's a big difference between baseball and softball, is that in baseball, almost every stolen base is contested. But in softball, if you don't have a chance, they're not even going to try it. That one is caught by the shortstop to make the first out of the first, as Fay is retired, and now Bonilla will bat. Bonilla out of Jackson Memorial. Another one of those schools up out of the, well, there's Jackson Memorial and there's Jackson Liberty. It was recently announced that Jackson Liberty, which is the one closest to Six Flags Great Adventure, is going to close and be merged into the middle school, sending all of their students to Jackson Memorial. And Jackson Memorial is already a, what's the word here? It's already a Group 4 school at the high school level. So Jackson Liberty being a Group 2 going there could make Jackson Memorial one of the largest high schools in New Jersey, unless they decide to send Jackson Liberty students elsewhere. Because Jackson isn't really in like a centralized spot. There's a lot of, business there, but not a lot of houses. That's a base hit in the right. Brookdale's going to get one run. Red light at third. The throw does get away. It hits off the facade of the dugout. Getting the second is going to be Bonilla, and Brookdale doing themselves good here as it'll be an RBI single for Bonilla. They have a grand total of 4 hits here in the first inning. Scoring is Campbell, Lowe held up at third. And now a quick meeting between pitcher and catcher for Rios and Rackett, as Middlesex in some trouble here in the first. This is the 7th batter. It's Pavlik. So as they discuss the future situations here for the Jersey Blues, or the action plan against the Jersey Blues, they trail 3-0, and a strike called in the inside corner. Just notice left-handed catcher behind the plate for Middlesex, Gianna Rios. That one's hit out towards right center. That's going to drop for a base hit. That's an RBI single for Pavlik. That's back-to-back at-bats with an RBI. Bonilla gets a third base out of it. And it is now 4-0 Brookdale, as all 4 batters who reached to start the inning, 1 through 4, have all scored. And now with 1 away, there's 2 on. Runner goes, throw down to second. He's not in time. Here's the pitch. Strike called. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fouled back, look out. Hit the back row of the grandstands and trickles down. 1-2. That one's outside. Yeah, I don't remember the last time I've seen a left-handed catcher. I mean, that's a proper catcher's mitt, but they have to be specially made for the left-handed catchers. There's a swing and a miss. Esposito down on strikes, and that's the second out of the first, bringing up the 9-hitter Zazzarino. But the only time I can remember in baseball or softball seeing a left-handed catcher was, I think there was a Pirates catcher back in the early 90s that for 1 game caught because people were short, and not short as in height, but short as in availability and injuries. There's a ground ball up the third base line. Zazzarino will be retired, but the damage most certainly is done. 9 batters come to plate for Jersey Blues, and 4 of them score, including all 4 from the top half of the lineup, 1 through 4. We are through 1 here in Gloucester County, 4-0 Jersey Blues. A long first for Brookdale. 4 runs come in to score, and that one is outside, 1-0. 3 strikeouts in the first for Jules Hart. As Seyfarth will be the first batter for the Colts in the top half of the second. One's outside. Good news is we did have a bit of a delay in getting started. We ended game 1 in an hour and 5 minutes, and then they said, yeah, it'll be about a 25, 30-minute takeover, but then it's a turnaround, and then, well, Brookdale wasn't here. So they decided to start the game at 1 o'clock normal scheduled time, which makes sense. Brookdale had to get on the bus. They had to get here, had to travel about an hour down from where they are in Ocean County. Or I think they're in Monmouth County, but either way. Central Jersey type, got to deal with some really bad traffic that has happened on 295. There was a bad accident this morning with an overturned truck, overturned tractor trailer. Had a problem with on Thursday. It wasn't Thursday. It was last Thursday. Cinnaminson and Clearview. That game started a half hour late because of traffic issues for Cinnaminson getting down to Clearview, which is maybe about 15 minutes from here. This one popped up, back behind us, and out of play. It's 0-2. So Seyfarth flew out to left to start the inning. Now it's Gertz. And Santiago will be next for Middlesex. No balls, 2 strikes, and the pitch. Chops it out to third. Picked up, throw across the diamond is in time. And there's 2 down. Well, if Brookdale can be this efficient on defense, I don't see that there's a plausible reason why they would lose this game. Obviously, a lot of things can happen. It's still very, very early in the going, but right now they have the pieces. They have a high-powered offense that seems to be very quick and swift in getting on base, and they have a defense that hasn't really given them any problems. A walk and a single in the first inning, and then, well, I mean, listen. They've done themselves pretty well in terms of the defensive side. Any ball that's been put in play has been good. And on the other side of the coin, we've already got 3 strikeouts for Jules Hart this afternoon, bringing her up to 158 on the season. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Chases it low. Or no, never mind. 2-1. I messed up there. Now it's a 2-strike count. I believe it's 1-2 here. Brookdale will bat 1, 2, and 3 in the second. That's a swing and a miss. That time is for good, and the inning is over. Middlesex goes down in order, and we will go to the bottom half of the second. Brookdale 4, Middlesex 0. In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Bottom of the second inning, first pitch missed high to Jillian Fay. Brookdale sent 9 gals to the plate in the first, scoring 4 on actually 5 hits. Really good offensive output from the first inning. Fouled straight back off the back post, and it's 1-1. Fay started off the game with a bang, a triple to center field straight away that got over the head of the center fielder, Kripatis. 1-1 makes it 2-1 as that one just missed. Jillian Fay, Hart, and Campbell at the top of the card for Brookdale in the bottom half of the second as that one's down. 3 balls, 1 strike. Don't forget the itinerary for today. Again, Northampton fell to RCSJ in game 1 of this 4-game series, 11-3. The loser of Northampton lost game 1, so the loser of this game will play Northampton in game 3, and then game 4 will be the winner of this game versus RCSJ. That winner's bracket game will essentially serve as the first semifinal. The second game, the second day tomorrow, will start with the second semifinal, depending on who wins games 3 and 4, and then the championship, which is double elimination, depending on who is 2-0 in this series, will be on Sunday, the second game. If necessary, a third game will be played if the team who is 2-0 on Sunday loses their first championship game, because remember, it is double elimination. 3 balls, 2 strikes. By the way, if you're looking for a baseball update over at rcroadrunners.com, Roadrunners are leading Montgomery County 14-0 in the 3rd inning as this one's floated out toward short and caught, 1 away. Well, I'll tell you this, if Rackett can shut down the top half of this order for Brookdale, I think that she will be setting herself up for success, because part of the reason why that 4-run inning spiraled in the first place was because of the fact that all 4 batters reached on base. It was one gut punch after another. As this one's laced left center field, that's going to split the gap. It's actually going to drop on one hop in the left and center field gap, picked up by Krapatis. And a good defensive relay holds the runner at first for a base hit for Hart. She's helped her own cause mightily today. She's now 2 for 2 with an RBI. As now it'll be Campbell. Swing and a miss early on the fastball, 0-1. But I think the good news is that if this game ends early for whatever reason, if Brookdale gets another offensive outburst and sends this game home, we should be able to get actually an earlier itinerary for or an estimated time of starting the games for games 3 and 4. We were, again, like we said, game 1 of this series ended at 12:05, and we were told about a 30-minute turnaround. That ended up not happening, as that is a fly ball to right. It pops out of the glove. She drops it. The runner will get in the second safely, as a big defensive mistake there means Campbell reaches on an error again. This time credited to the right fielder and charged against them. It is Brookdale's second error of the game, and Campbell has taken advantage of both of them. As now here is Audra Lowe, the power hitter who is going to take advantage of, or possibly going to take advantage of, Middlesex's mistake. As a little bit of a half swing there, it gets popped up. The infield fly was called. And there's 2 down. Yeah, now 2 outs makes the situation a little bit more difficult. I mean, listen, once all 4 runs were scored for Brookdale, they got that with 1 out or less in the inning. First 4 batters, 6 of the first 7 reached for the Jersey Blues. And then what happened after that? Esposito struck out, and then Zazzarino grounded out to third to end the inning. So it looked like Brookdale could have done more, but then the 8 and 9 hitters just kind of brought the ship to a halt. However, there's a ground ball out to short, backhanded. Throw across the diamond is in time. Nice back pick at short by Gertz, and the inning is over. After a 4-run first inning, Brookdale threatens but fails to score. We're through 2 here in Gloucester County. It's the Jersey Blues 4 and the Colts 0. 2 innings gone here in Game 2. It is Brookdale 4, Middlesex 0. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman, right down the road from here at 614 Lambs Road. If you're on the complex today waiting for your team to play, you make a left out of the parking lot, make a left at the traffic light, and then you make a right on the Lambs, and Harper Driving School will be right there. Book an appointment. Might not be good on a Saturday, but either way, I digress. Brookdale sent 5 gals to the plate in the second. We start off the third with Ava Austin, who just singled through the gap at short. And now we go back to the top for Marsh. Pops it up on the bunt. Gets down, Hart throws her out, and it'll be a 1-3 sacrifice. And that's executed perfectly. Bunts are harder to do in the baseball scene just because of the fact that you have less room to work with. In baseball, you can drill the ball down the line. As long as it stays on that chalk, it's fair. Well, in softball, you've got less area to work with. It's 60 feet from each base. It's 46 feet to home plate. It's not easy to go up and drop a bunt with as much precision as they do. In baseball, oftentimes bunts fail. They don't work. Well, in softball, if you're somebody at the top of the order, Marsh with a runner on, that was her job. Her job was to move the runner over, give herself up, and get somebody in the scoring position. And that's even more so important now that Middlesex is down by 4. They shut down Brookdale in the second, but there's no guarantee that Brookdale won't get those bats hot again. 1-1. This one's popped up. Look out. This one's going out of play. Everybody ducking cover. One of the RCSJ players literally almost dove over the bleachers to try to get out of the way. Everybody, though, seems to be okay, even though they got into their militaristic stance. 1-2. That one's also popped up. This one will also go out of play, just past the dugout at first base. And it's still 1-2. The schedule next week on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. On Sunday, we'll have the semifinals and the championship of the Region 19 Softball Championship. And then on Monday, we're back closer to home with a Tri-County Conference Tri-County Conference matchup. Oh, how about that? Got her to waiver there. She wanted to stop the swing. Her body wanted to do one thing, and her brain wanted to do something else. She strikes out. It's the 4th. Check that, 5th strikeout. As now Rackett will bat with 2 away here in the 3rd. But I digress. It's Pittman and Overbrook at 4 o'clock on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we're actually going to be right down the road from our CSJ. We're going to be at GCIT. It's the semifinal rounds of the New Jersey Tech Schools Championship in Groups 3 and 4. They'll be playing the Payne Tech Lions. If you're curious, they're up in Essex County. It'll be our first time covering them. First pitch at 3:30. And then on Wednesday, we've got the Hightstown Rams and the Burlington Township Falcons in a Colonial Valley and BCSL crossover between Mercer and Burlington counties. So we've got some new names joining the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting family this week, but then we're right back home on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the Region 19 Baseball Championships at Rutgers Camden, again with RCSJ Gloucester, the number 1 seed. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Rackett, looking to help her own cause, and with a runner in scoring position, looking to ease the Middlesex deficit. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rackett steps back in the box, and the pitch. Outside, 2-2. And then after that, we've got our final week of regular season baseball here in South Jersey. We're going to have 6 games from Monday all the way to Saturday. 2-2. Checks, appeal to first. They say yes. I don't think she went around on that one, but they didn't even entertain an appeal to second base. And the inning is over. So we go to the bottom of the 3rd, an odd situation there. I mean, there was kind of a holding pattern, and then they said, yeah, they didn't even entertain an appeal. They just called her out on strikes, and the inning was over after a bit of a delay. We go to the 4th here in Gloucester County, 4-0 Jersey Blues. here in the top of the third inning. See if we get a look at it here. We're going to slow this video down. We're going to take a look at it real quick. Definitely looks like she crossed the plane, but we're going to restart it one more time because it's just right there. Looks like she crosses the plane. Actually, honestly, that might have been the shadow of the bat that made it look like she crossed the plane. That actually is pretty close. I'm not sure about that entirely, but and they failed to appeal down the second. But 1-1 count here in the bottom of the third. Middlesex 0, Brookdale 4. That could be a turning point. I mean, runner on second. Strike 3 gets called that honestly could have gone either way. It's just very, very difficult. It's kind of difficult to decipher. Popped up, foul, right side, and out of play. 1-2. You're watching coverage of the NJCAA Region 19 Final Four for softball here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. I'm joined by Damian Waiters up in the booth. Also our wonderful crew with the Rowan College of South Jersey Athletic Department. We've got Greta Fairstad, Maya Valari, and Nevaeh Miller to our left helping out today. Yes. Good friends down here at our CSJ, as that is a swing and a miss for the first out of the third. Bonilla strikes out swinging to start the third. Just kind of circling around on that left-handed catcher's thing. Logan Schaefer, who was an outfielder for Milwaukee. There was a time in 2013 where the Brewers were so banged up that they needed an emergency catcher. Just like in hockey, you have an emergency goalkeeper. Well, Logan Schaefer at the time was the emergency catcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, but he was a left-handed outfielder. Now, there was one time where the Pirates in the early 90s, like 91, 92, had a left-handed catcher come in deep in extra innings because somebody had gotten hurt. However, this, with Gianna Rios behind the dish, is the first time I have ever seen a left-handed catcher start a game. The only other time I could have possibly seen it was in youth baseball that ball hit her several times, and it drops for a base hit. It hit her in the glove, and it hit her in the thigh before dropping. However, because it did hit her glove, that will be scored as an error on the back pedal. I mean, Middlesex has just been hampered with the errors today. They need to pick it up on the bats if this is going to be how it'll go, because this is their third error. And all 3 errors have been on pop flies. It's one thing if you have a couple errors on hard-hit ground balls that could go either way, but these are 3 undisputable errors. And even if they don't go in the scorecard as errors, they are certainly impactful on the game. The only other time I could have seen a left-handed catcher was maybe at the youth baseball level at like 10, 11, 12 years old. But I've done so many of those games that I don't even remember most of them. Because you show up and things happen, team wins 25-0, and then you go home. But that one's fouled back. It's still 0-2. Now, I have been asked before why 99% of catchers are left-handed. It's the same reason why third base, shortstop, and second baseman are also most commonly right-handed. That one will go right back to the mound. She'll pump fake, goes to second for 1. Gets the fielder's choice. And that's all she wrote in that at-bat. Pavlik out at second. There's 2 away. That'll be a I think that's a 1-6 fielder's choice. As now Zazzarino will bat. I'll get you a card in 1 second. In the end. 1-0. Two balls, no strikes to Zazzarino, who grounded out to third. But just circling back on that point to wrap it up before the end of the inning, left-handed catchers are uncommon because it is thought, as there's a fly ball to left, that's also going to drop. Runner's going to come home here on the relay. She's going to score. How about that? Pavlik comes in and that, because it didn't hit the glove, is actually going to be called an RBI double by Zazzarino, scoring Esposito, and it's 5-0. But anyways, once again, circling back on the point, it is often thought because it's a disadvantage for back picks. Now, in youth baseball and even high school, you don't back pick that much, but imagine where a left-handed catcher is throwing. It's an advantage for her to throw to third as a lefty because she only has to jump and pivot. When you're throwing to first as a catcher, you have to not only turn and pivot, but you also have to throw cross body to get to first base. Third base is a little more natural. And because oftentimes you're throwing more often to first base than to third, it becomes advantageous for right-handed catchers to take precedent over left-handed catchers, as the count is 1-2. Now, the counter to that is if a runner is stealing third, it's an advantage for left-handed catchers, and there are a lot of stolen bases naturally in the softball game and in the ethos of how everything works. However, it's one of those things that kind of has always been. That's going to drop foul down the right field line. Right-handed catchers versus lefties, it's one of those things that has always existed as kind of like a precursor to baseball and softball. It's the same reason why on a dropped third strike you can run to first base. Just somebody made that up 150 years ago in a wood cabin and said, you know what, that's a rule, and 150 years later, we're still rocking with it. 1-2, line foul. That's what I love about baseball and softball. People can just sit by the fire in 1870 and make up the rules to the game, and 140 years later, we don't even question why. Like the infield fly rule. It doesn't really make sense, but it's one of the things that is a part of the game. As that one skied out towards center field, this one could drop. It will. She backed up on it, and that's going to score a run, makes it 6-0 Blues. And Brookdale has put a half dozen on the board, 2 here in the bottom of the third.
Number 22, Juliana Hart.
So Juliana Fay gets the RBI single, and this one's hit out to left, but foul. Hits keep on coming for Brookdale. They've taken advantage of 3 Middlesex errors in the first 3 innings. That ball scored as Azarino. Oh, the ball got away. But because it was a foul ball and a dead ball, doesn't matter. No balls, 1 strike with 2 away in the bottom of the third. Brookdale's putting it on as that one's taken outside. And you can see there on that motion by Rios, that's one of the reasons why left-handed catchers usually don't get the same love that they always do. Because if she wanted to back pick to first and throw to the first baseman, she'd have to throw across her body as opposed to a right-handed catcher who could maybe get a little bit more leverage. That'll be a throw to third. It's going to get away. Oh, no. That's 7. Runner's going to get to third here for Brookdale. The tag, not in time, just missed it. That will score a run. And that is going to be, first of all, Fay came around to score all the way from first. That is going to be an RBI single, aided by an E9. It is the 4th Middlesex error, and now their coach will come out to have a conversation. They are led by Coach Matt Mihalik and assisted by Anthony Muldowney, Cheryl Kurzgaard, and Christian Mihalik. So a meeting here out on the mound. Don't forget, if you're new to Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, especially if you're a Middlesex or a Brookdale parent who may not be used to our work, check out our DWB Classics playlist. It's consisted of the 25 best games to ever come about of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, including walk-off home runs, game-winning touchdowns, and half-court three-point shots to win state championships. Well, not state championships, but win playoff games. I think everybody around here knows of the Woodbury shot heard around the world, but those of you up north may not. So check out our DWB Classics playlist once you're done watching the game today to get a better taste of what we're all about at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. 0-1 to Campbell. That one's outside, 1-1. So getting all the way to third is Hart. And the 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2. There's a swing and a miss. Side retired. She gets out of it, but 3 more runs come across for Brookdale. They bat 7, and after 3 here in RCSJ territory, it's 7-0 Brookdale over the Colts. Top of the 4th inning here, Brookdale 7, Middlesex 0. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Ortiz, Rios, and Seyfarth are the batters for Middlesex. 0-1 is down, 1-1. All commercials you see here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting are filmed, edited, recorded, and produced by our wonderful crew and myself at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, LLC. If you're a small business owner who would like to become an advertiser of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting for the summer and fall of 2025, you can send me an email with an advertising inquiry at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. We'll send you an advertising flyer with information on how to get your name in the game in front of over 100,000 annual viewers on YouTube, along with our 5,000 plus followers on social media, including Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. A nice little looper. That was kind of a baseball play out there. One hop right to the shortstop, and she makes the play for the first out as Ortiz is retired. 2 hits for Middlesex, certainly offset by their 4 errors in the field. A ball has been automatically charged to the batter. I'm not sure for what. There's not really a pitch clock in softball. Maybe it was a false start, maybe. I'm not sure, but or kind of a balk situation. But if there's a balk in softball, I haven't really seen any, but with the bases empty, a ball would get charged to the batter. Meanwhile, in baseball, and softball, if you balk with runners on, everybody moves up 1 base. Again, the balk, that's a rule where I have studied the game of baseball and softball mercilessly for 9 years. Could I explain to you what a balk is? Probably not. But it's just one of those rules that has existed for the longest time. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's a strikeout, 2 away. Brookdale 7 runs on 9 hits, no errors. Middlesex no runs, 2 hits, and 4 errors in the field here in the I would say the early going, but if Brookdale scores 1 run in the bottom of the 4th inning, they would only have to shut out Middlesex to get their spot in the semifinals. That one's flied out towards left center field. It's going to drop. It's going to get out to the left center field wall, throwing it into second base. It's not in time. That's a double for Seyfarth. And Middlesex has a little bit of life here in the 4th inning. Their first extra base hit of the ball game. That one's popped right over our heads. We've only had one this season, luckily, or only one this season to go into the booth. Kind of hit off that like metal pipe above us and then shot straight down. Gave everybody a heart attack. Might have been versus Suffolk, the Suffolk Sharks earlier this year. As this one's flied left center field, got under it, but in this park, and really in all softball parks, that had some good distance. The inning is over. Middlesex is shut out through 4, and Brookdale just needs 1 run to put themselves in mercy rule territory. They would just need a good 4th and a clean top half of the 5th inning. We'll see if they can do that, though. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We'll be right back.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need. And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives. If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research.
In the bottom of the 4th, the first pitch is floated out towards short. It's going to be a base hit. That ball just tilted in the right way possible. And a very lucky break for Lowe as that ball that was hit looked like maybe got under it a little bit, took a sharp turn to the left. And Lowe has her second base hit of the game with Jessica Fay up now against Rackett, who has stayed in the game here despite a 7-0 deficit, as there's a first pitch strike called. This broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pet happy and healthy with the most organic food products available in South Jersey, along with toys, cages, accessories, and much, much more. You can visit today or 7 days a week because they're open all the time and every day. 226 South White Horse Pike in Audubon. That one is high. 2 balls, 1 strike. We were talking about earlier, Gianna Rios. That's a base hit in the center field for Jessica Fay. The ball gets past the center fielder. Runner will go to third for Brookdale. Now the ball's going to skip in the infield. Oh, she falls down on the edge of the grass. Run scores. I don't know if that was her fault, but she might have messed something up with her knee because the shortstop who came in on that play, taking the relay from left center field, looks like she had 1 foot on the edge of the infield dirt and another one in the grass. And with the rain overnight, we had a lot of rain yesterday. Could have, I mean, they rake the field and they do all of that. So I don't think it was the dirt. I think maybe her footing slipped up a little bit. We saw that with Crosby in the first game, where she slipped on the infield dirt trying to field a ball at second base. So that will be scored as, well, first of all, run came in, so it's an RBI single. However, an error will be charged to the center fielder. So make that 5 errors on the day for Middlesex. And now where we are right now, remember, softball run rules are 8. We're in the bottom of the 4th. If Brookdale has a clean top of the 5th, then we'll be out of here early again after, well, not out of here by any means, but I mean, I remember the one game that we've ever done out of state. We were in Wilmington, Delaware. That was back when I worked for Salem Community College, and we did softball for them for 2 games. That one is a fair ball. Throw to first is in time. It was almost sitting atop right the plate there behind the dish. It is going to be a 2-3 sacrifice hit for the first out, bringing up Pavlik. But we did 2 games that day in Wilmington. I mean, it's out of state, but Wilmington is literally right over the bridge. The only difference is that Delaware has Waffle Houses and Jersey doesn't. But my point is that we did 2 games, one versus Chesapeake and another versus Wilmington University in NCAA Division II. It was a fall ball showcase. So numbers weren't really, it was kind of a hodgepodge way of doing things. But I remember we only worked for about 3 hours that day. We picked up our equipment after game 1, moved it to the next field where the Mighty Oaks were playing, and then we were done. Softball's I'm not saying softball's an easy sport, but it certainly is a time-efficient one. Conversation with the Brookdale coach. Second-year head coach Anthony Pasillo, assisted by Kirsten Van. I'm just going to say Kristen. I'm not sure if I can pronounce that last name. Antonio Pasillo and Paul Garelick. We do have a pinch runner. Running at second base will be Charlotte Doherty at second. No balls, 2 strikes, so they do have a pinch runner at second. I mean, I just think about the fact I was at Trenton Thunder Stadium 2 weeks ago for another Central Jersey game. You folks at home might remember this, not remember it, but remember these 2 teams, Sayreville and Matawan, up in Central Jersey, as the 0-2 is popped up back over our heads again. That game went 3 hours and 4 minutes. I have never had a softball game go over 2 hours. I don't think I ever have. I might have had one that got close because it went to extra innings, but 99% of the softball games that we do are done and easy because it's fast. What I like about softball is that those girls move quickly. Even in a long game, we talk about high school tournaments, the PVI Invitational, the RV Elite Tournament. There's so many around that just host like 5 or 6 games in a day because they can. They could afford to fit that in their schedule. It's a base hit to left for Pavlik, moving Doherty to third, who was running for Jessica Fay. Have to make the distinction because of Jillian Fay at the top of the card. And that'll bring up Esposito here for the Jersey Blues. If you're just joining us, Brookdale leads at 8-0. Throw down to second, gets cut off at the pitcher spot. But Brookdale scored 4 runs in the first, had 5 hits in the inning, batted 9. Left 2 runners on in the second, added on another 3 in the third, and now threatening again in the fourth. They added on their only run so far in the 4th inning on an RBI single by Jessica Fay, who has now been run for at second base, again by Charlotte Doherty. Doherty, the pinch runner, the freshman out of Howell, home of the Rebels, in the Shore Conference. Yeah, when you get to like Ocean County, the Ocean County Vikings, almost all of their players are products of the Shore Conference. Meanwhile, Brookdale, this roster's got a healthy mix. Monroe Township, Middletown South, Howell, Marlboro, Jackson Memorial, Homedale. Actually, I don't know if Homedale is Shore Conference or not. I have to check up on that. Neptune and Manasquan. Really one of the few exceptions would be Old Bridge and Union Catholic, which is where Brookdale's pitcher, Juliana Hart, hails from. Union Catholic, easily one of the best TV productions in New Jersey. It's them, Sterling, and St. Augustine. They do so much good work for TV. Pascack Hills as well does some excellent TV work. As a broadcaster, I watch the games, but I also watch how the productions are done. I sometimes model some of the graphics or what I do off of, inspirations that we have from watching everybody else. everybody kind of piggybacks off of each other in this industry. The 3-2 pitch from the right-hander is hit. Right center field. Going over. It is caught in right. Runner will fail to tag, and I don't think she would have had the real estate to anyway, as Esposito flies out to shallow right for the second out of the fourth. And Brookdale is over the 8-run threshold, so if they have a scoreless top of the fifth, then they'll get home without issue. Same situation happened in the Northampton RCSJ game. RCSJ was up by 8. Northampton got 1 run back to keep themselves in the running. And now Zazarino will bat here in the bottom of the fourth. That ball's hit down to short, picked up, throw to first. Oh, it got away. Almost hit Zazarino. It goes into the dugout. It's out of play. Run will score. And getting down to second base safely is Zazarino.
Number 3, Jillian Fay.
So Jillian Fay bats. A run scores to make it 10-zip. And honestly, with how these two teams have played, I think Middlesex versus Northampton could be a really good game. Because remember, 2 losses sends you home, 1 gets you on the brink, but keeps you invited to the dinner party. That's a fly ball to center field, backpedaling, making the catch in center. That'll end the inning. Middlesex needs 3 runs to stay in this one. Here in the second round of the NJCAA Region 19 tournament, it's the Colts 0 and the Jersey Blues 10. Middlesex on the brink here. They need 3 runs to stay in the game. They're down 10-0. As hitting for Santiago will be number 5, Abba Terabetsky. So it'll be Terabetsky, Austin, and Marsh. 8, 9, and 1. Two balls, no strikes. Again, don't forget if you're watching game 3 and 4 of this quadruple header, that would be the right word. Game 3 looks like if Middlesex doesn't get back in this one, it'll be Middlesex versus Northampton in game 3. And then RCSJ will play game 4 in the winner's bracket. The only unfortunate thing is this is going to mean Middlesex is the only team that is going to have back-to-backs. Because Middlesex will go from the first round game, as now it's a 3-0 count, by the way, from Jules Hart. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, this is a situation where Middlesex will play their one game, and then they basically just stay in the dugout because Northampton's getting their bags. They're getting ready. However, I wouldn't count out the Colts just yet because they just picked up a 4-pitch walk to bring up Ava Austin. Here's Austin. First pitch. Right down the plate for a strike just below the letters.
Number 11, Ava Austin.
Gets a strike called, her first of the inning. And the pitch. Skied, high pop-up to second base. It's caught. First out of the 5th. Now we go back to the top for Mackenzie Marsh. So Northampton, who lost 11-3 to Northampton in the first game, they get at least a game's worth of breaks between the two. And then Middlesex, they got to go back-to-back. Brookdale will get 1 game rest between Game 2 and Game 4. And then, meanwhile, RCSJ is actually going to get 2 games of a break because they won the first game. They get to watch here from the grandstands in Game 2. And then they will also do the same for the majority of Game 3. 2-0. It's a strike call. 2 balls, 1 strike. Another ball has been called to the batter. It's 3-1. I didn't really hear what the umpire said, but that's the second time that Hart has been charged an automatic ball. That will be ball 4. So the automatic ball didn't end up becoming nothing. With 1 away, Middlesex is threatening again. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Two-one is no good. 3-1, close call that time. Three-one. Hit left center field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Green light from the green and blue around third. Scoring. 1 run comes in. It's an RBI double out of the 2 spot for Krapatis. And don't look now, but the Colts are on the board. It's 10-1. And now Brookdale coming out looking to alleviate the situation.
Number 8, Madison Rackett.
As Rackett will hit here. My consensus right now is unlikely to have a pitching change. I think in a 9-run lead you can still hold with Hart here, but there's a difference between a pitching visit to stall things out, to prepare for the next pitcher. This, I think, is just a mound visit to get everybody on the same page. That was a bit of a rocky start to the 5th. 2 walks and an RBI double. Well, you can't really blame the infield for the walks because that's not their job. And that double down the left field line was, well, hitting the play. So can't really do too much about it. But at this point in time, as we progress further and further into this game, Middlesex has the 2nd run on 3rd and the 3rd run on 2nd. So if they get both of those runs home, Brookdale would have to, quote, walk things off. Now, I don't call it a walk-off if it's a mercy rule. I think that's a little bit cheap, and it cheapens the value of what a walk-off is. I call it a game winner. It's easy. Because a walk-off means that the game is tied. Or that the game was leaning in one direction, and then one swing of the bat ends the game. It's 2-1. This inning is just not going as planned for Jules Hart. Again, a nearly sub-2 ERA. Probably with this performance, it'll stay under 2. With that 2.04 going in. That's a line drive into center field. One run's going to come in. Here comes the green light for Middlesex, scoring. This throw is almost airmailed. Now the runner's going down to second. She is safe. And Middlesex has avoided the mercy rule at all costs. They will make Brookdale work for a win. They've cut the lead to 7. It's a 2-run single by Rackett. And Middlesex has brought in some racket. It's 10-3. That's a good piece of hitting right there. Brookdale wanted the game to end peacefully and early, and Middlesex says no, they're not going to die today, and especially if they're going to play a back-to-back with Northampton. We'll see what they've got in store. And in the blink of an eye, Rackett is already down to third. She advanced to second on the actual play and advanced to third on a passed ball. That's hit to center field. It's caught. Throw to the plate. Runner will jog in. And that's a sacrifice fly. Now Brookdale needs 2 runs to win the game. And right now, it's not even a question. It's 10-4. And with 2 outs now in the 5th, Middlesex went from down and out to in it. And they're not in a state to win it yet, but they're down by 6 after entering the inning down by 10. They've put a 4 spot up on 2 walks and 2 hits. Flied in the shallow left. It's caught by the shortstop, and the inning is over. So Brookdale was looking for an early celebration, but instead they'll have to do some extra work with the bats to send them to the winner's bracket. As we go to the bottom of the 5th, Middlesex puts up a 4 spot on 2 hits. It's 10-4. Well, Brookdale entered the 5th inning up by 10 runs. They now take the plate up by 6. As the first pitch from Rackett is a big swing and a miss there by Safewith.
42, Juliana Hart.
Oh, excuse me. Hart. Forgot to turn over the lineup card. It's Hart, Campbell, and Lowe. In 3 of the first 4 innings, Brookdale sent 7 or more batters to the plate, 9 in the first and 7 apiece in the 3rd and 4th. Hart, Campbell, and Lowe here, 2, 3, and 4. And now that Brookdale needs 2 runs to win it on a mercy rule threshold, it certainly makes the task a little bit harder as there's a fly ball. Center field going in. It drops for a base hit. 2 fielders went for the same real estate, couldn't hang on either time. We've got a single. Colts lead off the bottom of the 5th.
12, Jalen Campbell.
Runner on first for Brookdale, showing bunt, squares it up right in front of the mound. She fires a throw. Now she's going to get back to second base. The throw is not in time. Diving at short, couldn't make the play. So back-to-back base hits have put Brookdale back in business, as that now brings up Lowe. And again, she's got 8 homers this year, 61 RBIs. She's driven the ball out of the yard before. Let's see what she could do here for the Jersey Blues as the first pitch is fouled back. I think Middlesex honestly could make a good run in the losers bracket game versus Northampton, especially because Northampton, they scored some early, but I think that if Middlesex works out some of the defensive kinks, I think that they'll do good in that game. As that one, a great ricochet back to Rios. It moves both runners over. Now a bloop single can end the game here. I mean, for full context, I'm not rooting for the game to end. You know, I'm not rooting for either side. I'm a student at RCSJ. I have no skin in the game for either of these two teams. But, you know, when we talk about what these two teams have to offer, these 4 teams are the top 4 teams out of 7 in Region 19 play. There is such a significant fall off from the 4th to the 5th place spot in the region. You look at Northampton, they're 18-10 overall, and they actually were tied at 16-8 in the overall play. Or excuse me, in the region play, 16-8, overall 18-10. That means they've only played 4 non-conference games. RCSJ, 30-10 overall, 21-3. That's 24 region games and 40 total games. That's nearly half of your schedule not in your region. So there's a discrepancy of the fact that Northampton has only played 28 games. RCSJ and Brookdale and Middlesex, actually Middlesex has only played 34. And Brookdale and the Roadrunners have played 40. So I'm not trying to be a boy who cried wolf, but a team that's played 12 less games than the team in first place. Some kind of scheduling discrepancy there, I think. That's a free pass and the bases are loaded. You wonder if Middlesex is going to try to pull the trigger here. Jessica Fay did re-enter as a fielder, and now she's back up at the plate. So RCSJ 30-10, Brookdale 31-9, Middlesex 26-8, and then Northampton 18-10 as there's a strike. But then you go down to 5th place, Camden, 6-33. Bergen, 7-25, and Ocean, 3-23. That is kind of crazy. I mean, we do know a lot of teams that did drop out, and there are a handful of Division III teams that normally compete at their level but got bumped up to Division II for softball. Deltec being one of them, Salem being another in Division II this year, and then Sussex. Raritan Valley is almost always Division II. Lackawanna's sometimes Division II, sometimes Division I, and then Morris as well. They only played 12 games, kind of a truncated schedule. But Atlantic Cape went club. RCSJ Cumberland dropped their season. Atlantic Cape dropped their season entirely. And Lehigh Carbon eliminated all athletics entirely. That one's high, 2-2. Lehigh Carbon was supposed to eliminate all athletics after the school year, but because everybody heard the news, all of the athletes left. So they had no need to continue spring sports, hence canceling spring sporting activities. I mean, I could take a little bit of pride in the fact that I called the last Lehigh Carbon basketball game, unless they do decide to bring back athletics one day, as the 2-2 misses away to Jessica Fay. Bases loaded for Brookdale. And the 3-2 is, they say yes. So Middlesex was unhappy about one of those similar plays, and now they get one to go the other way. One down. First pitch, hit out towards shallow center field. Actually, this is going to stay in the infield. Infield fly is called right at the edge of the infield. 2 outs. And Brookdale, for the past couple of batters, has been one swing away from ending the game, but Pavlik now needs to bring home 2 runs to bring Brookdale to an 8-run Mercy Rule threshold lead. With the winner of this game set to play the Roadrunners, and the loser of this game set to play the Middlesex Colts. I'm sorry, from the first game, Northampton Spartans. I mean, like I said, it's 10-4. Middlesex very well could inject themselves back into this game, but they'll need to get an out here. Ground ball, second base. Oh, they're going to call interference on the runner, and the batter is out. So that is the correct call. That is the correct call. The runner at second base, whether it's unintentional or not, the batter is automatically out. So they're going to talk to the second base umpire, but by the letter of the law, that is the correct call. Whether you run into the ball intentionally or unintentionally, the runner had interfered, again, pretty much inadvertently, with the play at second base. We'll go to a break as the assistant coaches for Brookdale try to sort this out. We're through 5, and it is 10-4. We'll play another. Top of the 6th inning. Let's take a look at that play that ended the bottom half of the 5th. So at the plate here, we'll keep you updated as we look at the replay. First pitch is a ball. So looking at this here, a good pitch hit out towards second base, and you can see where the runner goes right there. She tries to hop and get out of the way, but it just meets at the right time where the ball went out to second base. The second base umpire immediately there calls it. And we'll get one more look at it here. The bases were loaded. Hit would have won the game. And then right there, you can see the second base runner and the second baseman kind of converge. And, again, she didn't mean to hit the ball or anything, but because she was in the path, that's where it gets called, and that's where everything kind of breaks down. The count is 3-1 in the top of the 6th inning. Strike called. And it's 3-2. After 6 batters came up for Brookdale, they left the bases loaded. Really thought that they were going to score, but I was incorrect. Count is 3-2. Hart gets one high, but lines it straight out to short. It's a 6-3 ground out for the first out of the 6th. So this will be the first game. Well, first game today ended in 5. This is the first game today to reach a proper 6th inning. RCSJ won the game via Mercy Rule threshold 11-3. And a game-winning hit. Hart now working with the first pitch. That's out. Call a strike. So Seyfarth grounds out to short, and now it's Gertz 0 for 2. Ground out and a fly out to left. One ball, one strike. And the pitch. And that strike called there. Looks like that one was over the zone. I wouldn't fight it. And the 1-2. So they say yes. Definitely broke the plane that time. Gertz down on strikes, and there's 2 down.
Number 5, Abby Trebeski.
So Trebeski is the batter for Middlesex. Northampton, the only team out of the 7-team field in Region 19 softball this year. RCSJ, Northampton, Brookdale, Middlesex, Camden, Bergen, Ocean, outside of Jersey. I mean, in basketball season, we see at least 14 or 15 teams in the division. But there are some that only field a handful of sports in the outdoor sports. Usually what you see at the community colleges is that they have space for indoor sports like volleyball and basketball, but they don't really have the space. Like, we're in rural Gloucester County here. Brookdale and Middlesex, they have a little bit more space, but, you know, like Union doesn't field those teams. Or they field baseball. I don't think they field softball, though. That one is outside. It's a 2-out walk to Trebeski. And now the batter will be Ava Austin. But my point stands that those teams, like in Philadelphia, Delaware County doesn't field a softball team. CC Philadelphia doesn't field a softball team. Actually, CC Philadelphia doesn't field baseball or softball. We covered, what was the other one? I think it was Passaic Community College in basketball. They only field 4 sports: men and women's basketball and men and women's volleyball. That's it, because they don't have space up there near Newark and all of those extra cities. Oh, that ball's dropped. Brookdale's going to pick up their first error of the game, and 2 runners will be on here in the top of the 6th inning. It'll be an E4 charge against the Jersey Blues as Austin reaches to bring up the top of the order for Marsh. But yeah, those community colleges that are really squished in the top of Jersey there, and even some in Philadelphia as well, struggle to field teams or even host facilities for outdoor sports. Although it's funny, the RCSJ soccer team has played Fashion Tech a couple times, which is from New York City. That one is lined out towards second base. Snow coned at second, and now that ball hits off the glove of the first baseman. Trickles down the line. Stop sign at third. That brings home a run. It's 10-5. And now Brookdale's coach is coming out to have a conversation with Hart, as Middlesex, who had 6 errors defensively, have now seemed to turn the bad luck over to the Jersey Blues. They pick up back-to-back errors. An E4, then followed by an E3. That wasn't even a bad throw. And they will keep Hart in the game with 2 outs in the 6th, but a run did score. Yeah, it's funny. I knew that. I mean, we've seen some teams like again, Philadelphia, CC Philadelphia, I think, is in Center City. Meanwhile, Delco's a little bit further down in media, but it's 1-0. But the Fashion Tech School, it's funny. I knew it was in Manhattan, but I didn't know where. When I went to Madison Square Garden for a concert in November, and it actually was right in Manhattan, right near the Empire State Building and Grand Central. Fashion Tech, right in the middle of Manhattan. They had buses for it and everything. That ball's hitting the left center field. That's going to drop. It hits off the left fielder's glove. 2 runs are going to score. They have trouble fishing around for the ball. Can you believe it? It's 10-7. This game was 10-0 in the 5th inning. And the Middlesex Colts have made this game incredibly viable for themselves again. That won't be an error, but it will be a 2-run single. It's up to 3 RBIs for Kapatis now. And now with the second visit, that will mark the end of the day for Jules Hart. First of all, they're going to go to the umpire to make the substitution. Looks like we're just going to have a 1-for-1 swap. as a tough break for Jules Hart, doing so well, but back-to-back errors. Most of those runs actually won't be earned against her. Only 4 of those 7 will be earned. Looks like the new pitcher coming in will be Jaden Pavlik, number 9, as Hart looks like she'll grab a glove and make a 1-for-1 swap out to shortstop. We'll be right back. This game has been turned on its head. It's 10-7 in the top of the 6th. Here at Rowan College of South Jersey in Gloucester County, I think this is what we call karma. I mentioned in the top of the 5th inning that it looks like that Brookdale has this game in hand and they just need 2 runs to win it. Well, that ended up not being the case. It was 10-0 in the top of the 5th inning, and Middlesex now has scored 7 runs, 4 in the 5th, to keep themselves in the game. They shut down Brookdale with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 5th, and now Middlesex has added on 3 more in the top half of the 6th inning. It's a 2-2 count with 2 away, and it misses low. To the pitcher Rackett, who, despite giving up 10 runs, stayed in the game. Jersey Blues, though, made a switch. Oh, I thought I had it wrong. Yeah, I was like, that was a very quick 4 pitches. It's 2-1. But Jaden Pavlik, the freshman out of Holmdel, the Holmdel Hornets, is the pitcher. That's high, misses at the face mask. (3-1), grounded, outstretched at third, but foul. Pavlik is a .370 hitter with 17 RBIs and 14 stolen bases. However, as a pitcher, she's put up a 4.19 ERA in 21 appearances. She started 19 games for the Jersey Blues, 2 saves, 107 innings pitched, and 60 strikeouts, 3.93 per 7. Ground ball, past the third baseman, it goes into left field. Green light from the third base coach, coming around. It's a 2-run game. Colts have made this game theirs to lose. It's 10-8. And the thing that comes to mind here is that interference call that ended the bottom of the 5th with the bases loaded. The ball that got through to the outfield was called dead for interference. Now, it was the correct call. Brookdale disagreed with it, but for all intents and purposes, that was the correct call. So if Middlesex comes back and takes the lead, we would certainly be in truly unprecedented territory. I don't remember the last time that a team was backed up against the fence with a mercy rule on the line. A base hit would have ended the game right then and there, and Middlesex has taken the opportunities that they have been given, and they have ran with them. It's a 1-1 count in a 10-8 game. 1-1, here's the pitch. High and away to Ortiz. Again, that was an RBI single down the left field line by Rackett. This is unbelievable. That's a base hit into left. Now Ortiz gets on. That's 3 in a row. Also, let's talk about the fact that the first 2 outs of the inning were in the first 2 batters. Seyfarth grounded out to short pretty smoothly and pretty easily. And then Gertz struck out. Then it was a walk in E4, another error at first base, back-to-back for Brookdale. And now 3 straight singles, 3 RBIs. The tying run is on base for the catcher, Gianna Rios. It's 1-0. Four runs in the 5th, now 4 in the 6th. They backpicked to first, not in time, and it's 1-1. Rios, however, seems like she could be due. She's 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a weak pop-up to short. 1-1. That one misses. Gust of wind kicks up here in the increasingly windy press box here in Sewell. 2 balls, 1 strike. Rios, the 9th batter of the inning, is a part of a 4-run barrage. It's outside, 3-1. Man, if you're Coach Pasillo, you got to be really kicking yourself over some of these plays. I mean, 8 combined errors, 6 for Middlesex, 2 for Brookdale. And right now you're up by only 2 runs to a team that has committed those 6 errors. Middlesex did not look like themselves in those first 4 innings. They were down 10-0. Like I said, they were 3 outs away from losing the game via mercy rule. And both sides clapping it up, regardless of whether these are Jersey Blues or Colts supporters. The 3-2 is high. It's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. You could not have scripted this game better in Hollywood. As now at third is Rackett, at second is Ortiz. It's the 2nd walk of the inning, the 5th overall. 10-8, top of the 6th inning. Here's the first pitch. Strike called on the outside corner. I don't think I've ever seen this before. If they can complete this. Seyfarth started the inning with a weak ground ball to short. She's 1 for 3 with a double in the 4th. Strike called. It's 0-2. Pavlik might have just gotten her groove back. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, top of the 6th. And hard to think we've still got another inning to play in this contest. The 0-2 outside. We stay alive. I mean, for all of us up here in the booth, this, to people to my left, are student workers at RCSJ. So am I. I have no skin in this game, and this is still incredible. Curveball grounded. Oh, it hits off the second baseman. Loops to first, not in time. Run scores for the Colts. It's 10-9. They are one run away from completing possibly the most improbable comeback in recent history here at the Roadrunner Athletic Complex. It's an RBI E4. It's the 3rd error committed by Brookdale this inning as that ball deflected off of the second baseman's glove. Didn't even get that bad of a bounce. 1 ball, no strikes to Gertz. Strike called, 1-1. Kelsey Gertz, the batter. Out of South Plainfield High School. Strike called there. As a hitter, batting .390. 1 homer, 6 extra base hits, 32 for 82. And she is also 0 for 3. 1-2 from Pavlik. Grounded over the middle. That's a base hit. The game is tied. Here comes the runner. The Middlesex Colts have just done the unbelievable. It's 11-10. Middlesex was down 10-0 in the top of the 5th, and they have just taken the lead. Well, this place went from roaring to hearing a pin drop in just a moment. I really cannot believe that. Brookdale in the top of the 5th was up by 10. and they loaded the bases with one out. There was a pop out to second by Ava Austin, and then a walk, an RBI double by Krapatis, then a 2-run single by Rackett got them back in the game. And the rest is history. Here's the pitch. That one is down, 1-0. 11-10 here in the top of the 6th. It is I really can't believe this is happening. Ground ball. That's out to third. From her knees, she got her, but the inning is over. And maybe the most improbable comeback in a long, long time has just commenced here in Deptford Township. Middlesex has taken an 11-10 lead. They score 7 runs. And after being at the verge of a mercy rule 2 innings ago, they turn 6 outs into 7 runs, and magic has fallen upon Gloucester County. 11-10. We'll be right back. Well, less than 30 minutes ago, we were having conversations about Middlesex having a back-to-back matchup in the loser's bracket. And you blink, you might have taken a nap. The Middlesex Colts have taken the lead. It's 11-10. They were down 10-0 in the top of the 5th inning. They loaded the bases, and after all of that, scored 7 runs in the top of the 6th inning and have now taken the lead. And hard to believe that Rackett, who has been the starting pitcher since the tip of the hour, since the tip of the ball game, could be in line for the win. It's popped up out to first. It'll just trickle into the dugout there, and it's 2-2. It was 11 batters as a part of the 7-run barrage that took the lead. I still can't believe that happened. I have never, in my 5, 6, 7+ years of broadcasting, have seen a comeback that crazy. And considering the fact that Middlesex has 6 errors, you still have to catch your breath when a fly ball goes to the outfield. But Esposito does fly out, bringing up Zazarino, in the bottom of the 6th inning. You can throw any dream about a mercy rule out the window, because this game is most likely going to go right down to the wire. Here's the first pitch, fouled back towards Tanyard, and it's 0-1. Zazarino for Brookdale has 2 RBIs, a double in the 3rd, and reached on an error in the 4th. So she is 1 for 3 all told. And out of the 9 spot, too, everybody's been productive for Brookdale. All 9 batters have reached base at least once for the Jersey Blues. I mean, after Brookdale scored 4 runs in the first, I thought that this game was sealed and done. Just internally, I wouldn't have said it, but you know, I hinted at it. I said, listen, bats weren't Jersey Blue; they were red hot. And now the same is true for all but 1 batter, Gertz for Middlesex. 8 of the 9 starters have reached base at least once. 1 ball, 2 strikes, Rackett to Zazarino. Here's the pitch. That one is high, 2-2. Swinging a foul tip, barely made contact with it. That one is hit out to left field. It is caught. 2 away. Back-to-back flyouts to left.
Number 3, Julian Fay.
If you're just joining us, you may want to rewind the tape and come back to us because this game has been incredible. 11-10. Brookdale scored 4 runs in the first, 3 in the third to make it a 7-0 game. They added on 3 more in the fourth to make it 10-0 and looked like this game was sealed, signed, and delivered. But now that case is not true as Brookdale has given up 4 runs in the fifth, which was enough to keep Middlesex alive, but then Brookdale themselves were on the verge of getting back into the mercy rule column. They had bases loaded and 2 outs, but an interference call at second base ended the inning. That opened the door instead of a mercy rule finish for Middlesex to take the lead. They scored 7 runs. And as a call that, as at least in our books, we think is the correct call, Brookdale certainly disagreed with it at the time. I'm not sure if they do now. They'll be looking back at that play and kicking themselves if this game continues to go in Middlesex's favor. And remember, this is a double elimination tournament. RCSJ and Northampton will play, RCSJ and Northampton played in the first game. The Northampton students are in the grandstands right in front of us as this is a dribbler. Out in front of the mound, Rios. Oh, wow. That's a fair ball. It's right on top of it. I mean, that is surgical precision right there. It landed right on top of the chalk, 50-50. And remember, if any part of the ball is over the chalk, it is fair. 2-out base hit for Jillian Fay. It's her 3rd hit of the day, 2 singles and a triple. Hard to believe that many moons ago. Popped up foul. And now here's somebody who has, even though now she's been taken out of the game as a pitcher, she goes to shortstop after Pavlik came in relief. Jules Hart has been doing herself a great game. 2 RBIs, 4 for 4 with 4 singles. 0-1 is the count. No balls, 1 strike, 2 away. Time called at the plate by Hart. So 2 RBIs, 4 for 4. She has scored in just 1 of her 4 singles. Here's the 0-1. That one misses high. Rios pump fakes a back pick, and it's 1-1. So remember, Northampton is getting ready to play in Game 3. However, one of the teams who loses today will have to stay on the field and go with a back-to-back. Whoever wins this game gets the luxury of sitting out Game 3 and playing in Game 4. But Northampton playing in the first game as the 4 seed gets to sit out 1 and have a little bit of extra time to warm up. There have been 9 combined errors in this game, 6 at the hands of the Colts, 3 at the hands of the Jersey Blues. So even though there's 10 runs on the board for Brookdale, there have been plenty of reasons for Brookdale to be blue. Not that one. It's a fly ball to left, and it is taken in. A beautiful play in left field. 3 outs and 3 flyouts to the same left fielder for Middlesex. We've got 1 inning to go. This place is getting pumped. It's 11-10, going to the 7th. Well, this game has to be boring in the 7th inning because I need to reserve my voice for games 3 and 4 of this quadruple header with RCSJ Gloucester, Middlesex, Brookdale, and Northampton. In the Final Four, you don't get much better than this, really. Middlesex, again, I'm going to say it like a broken record because we do have a lot of people joining us in kind of the game of telephone, like, hey, Middlesex is leading, and you say, what? And then they say, yes, Middlesex is leading, and then you say, what? And I say, yes, it's 11-10. Down 10-0 in the top of the 5th inning. Colts scored 4 in the 6th and 4 in the 5th and 7 in the 6th to take the lead. 3 Brookdale errors in the 6th, along with an 11-batter performance. It will be Tebeski and Austin, or no, excuse me. Austin is the batter leading us off. That one's outside. Austin, Marsh, and Krapatis, 9-1-2. 2-2 pitch, way outside, hits the post, and trickles back into play, 3-2. Again, we're here at the Roadrunner Athletic Complex. We've got a great group of people working today. Again, Damian Waiters, my producer, on the broadcast. Not too far from here, West Deptford alum himself. We've also got Greta Fairstad, Maya Valari, Nevaeh Miller back there. Rich Cooper's joining us here as well, here at the Athletic Complex. We've got a quick meeting here between the umpires. Great staff here at Rowan College of South Jersey. Not biased at all. Three balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Big chance for Middlesex to pad their lead and add some unexpected insurance. That ball hit her mid-swing, so it's a foul ball. Made good contact with it, but just got on top of it and just couldn't put the ball in fair play. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Pavlik, the second pitcher of the day for Brookdale. Hit out towards left field. It'll stay in the ballpark. It's going to hug the line, and by a hair, it goes foul. Ava Austin, at this point in time, 1 for 3. (3-2). Got a looper. Didn't get great contact on it, and it's popped up, caught at third. 1 away. Turns the lineup card back over to Marsh. Grounder, first base side, skips through both, both into right field. They throw to first, not in time. That's a base hit for Marsh, her first of the day. She had a sacrifice hit, a walk, and an error, but not a hit to take home with her. Strike called. Just going over the schedule for next week on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We'll be back here Sunday for the semifinals and championship of the Region 19 Final Four here for softball. Games start at 10 a.m. and 12, possibly 2 if needed, thanks to the double elimination bracket. Monday, we'll have Tri-County Diamond and Classic crossovers with the Pittman Panthers and the Overbrook Rams at 4 o'clock in Overbrook. Then on Tuesday, we're going to be not too far from here. We're going to be right down the street at GCIT. It's the semifinal round of the NJCAA Tech School Tournament between the Payne Tech Lions of Essex County and the GCIT Cheetahs. First pitch at 3:30. Count us 3-1. And then Wednesday, we've got a Mercer and Burlington County crossover. It's the Hightstown Rams and the Burlington Township Falcons at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. 3 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. And a swing and a miss. Chased at ball 4. That one missed low and away. 3-2. And then, of course, Thursday through Saturday, we'll be at Rutgers Camden with the NJCAA Region 19 Final Four for baseball. 3-2. Swing and a miss. They backpick to first. Now she's got to go down to second base. She is safe. So a little bit of chicanery there to get down to second base. But any way you got to do it, it works. And there's 2 down, bringing up Rackett, the pitcher. Again, really hard to believe this is where we're at right now. I mean, this is pretty incredible. By the way, by DWB definitions, we call a game a slugfest when both teams score 10-plus runs. This is the first game to fall under that criteria of both teams scoring 10 or more since March 30th, 2024, when Lehigh Carbon beat Camden County back when we worked for them 14-10. So it's been a little while. We've seen a lot of offense in this game, and really a lot of it, if not all of it, in major, major bunches. That one misses low. 2 balls, no strikes. There's the runner on second, Marsh for the Colts, as now Rackett, who has helped her own cause dearly on the hill with 3 hits and 3 RBIs, including a 2-run single in the 4-run 5th. And, of course, a huge RBI single for herself in the 6th as well. Count is 3-0. Waiting for a signal from Coach Pasillo in the dugout, the second-year head coach here at Brookdale. As the grandstand's just getting fuller and fuller here. The Spartans waiting to see who they will play in the losers bracket, and then the Roadrunners waiting to see who they'll play in the winners bracket. The Roadrunners will have to wait a little while. Northampton will have to get up and go when this game is over. But I remember very distinctly in the 4th inning, I think it was either the 3rd or the 4th, Northampton had gotten up and left to go warm up because, well, to them the game was over. And to all of us, the game seemed like it was in good hands. Middlesex's coach coming out. He went to talk to the umpire, but kind of kept a far distance. And now retreats. I'm not sure what that was, but count is 3-0. There was a pitcher and catcher meeting that will now be logged. As Rackett looking to continue her offensive display as it's 3-1. Yeah, but Northampton got all their bags. They warmed up. They moved over to the side because, yeah, it was 7-0. Once it got to 10-0, they were like, yeah, it's kind of hanging over the dugout. Like they were getting ready to go. That'll be a walk to Rackett, her first of the day. It is the 4th time she has reached base. And this now brings up Ortiz, Samara Ortiz. I just cannot believe this is the case. That ball is smoked. Left field. Gone! Samira Ortiz. How do you do? 3-run home run to left. And Middlesex with a cherry on top in the first round, 14-10. That ball was smoked more than a Kansas City brisket. It clears the left field wall. And we've got a 4-run game. Her 3rd hit of the game, her 4th RBI. And Samara Ortiz has brought this game into Middlesex territory comfortably, at least for now, 14-10. That's the first home run in either of the 2 games we've seen so far. Outside to Gianna Rios. So scoring on that home run was Marsh, Rackett, and of course Ortiz. Man, that ball was smoked. 1-1. Up and in, almost hit her there. For Ortiz, that's her 7th home run of the year. And she homered twice in the May 7th doubleheader in the play-in round versus Bergen. So Ortiz is used to the long ball, and that's just her 3rd homer in the playoffs. 3 homers in 3 games for the sophomore Ortiz. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Pavlik with the pitch. Got way ahead of it, and it was foul. Trying to do the same thing that Ortiz did, but instead with Gianna Ross at the plate. Rios, excuse me. Rios walked in her last at-bat. It's the 6th batter for Middlesex in the 7th. Had to hesitate. That's going to be a base hit. That ball kind of looped in there. And now we've got a base hit by Rios. As now it'll be Sayworth now. There's another look over at the baseball game over at, I can't believe my camera zooms in that far. That's number 16. I think that's Landon Edwards pitching over there. It's not my eyesight, it's just the camera. That's good stuff. They're doing pretty well right now versus Montgomery County. As the first pitch misses, 1-0. When we get a score update on that, we'll let you know. But Sayforth, 1 run on the day. Drove in the final run as a part of the 7-run 7th. As all 14 of Middlesex's runs came in the 5th, 6th, and 7th. They were dormant for the first half of this game and have now had the power of 1,000 suns. There's a base hit in the left. Rounding second, going to third. This could be a tough play. Throw is up, not in time. That's a base hit for Sayfarth. And she moves the runners into scoring position. Middlesex jumping for joy as it's now back-to-back singles. Gertz is the batter. And with her being 0 for 4, this marks still the only batter not to reach for Middlesex here in this one. I really can't believe that this game, really can't believe this has been the case today. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. One ball, one strike. Strike called. 1-2. Middlesex 10 total hits on the game. That takes advantage of 3 Brookdale errors. Their first 3 hits were in the 1st through 4th. In the last 3 innings, they've had 7 inside. That is a huge discrepancy. Somebody turned on a light switch in that dugout. Something happened. It was a slow buildup. 4 runs in the 5th, and then you blink and there's 7 in the 6th. And now that it was 11-10 when we went to the bottom half of the 6th. Now it's 14-10. You got 2 touchdowns and 2 PATs here for the Colts in 3 innings, 14 runs. Just incredible stuff here from Middlesex this afternoon. Here's the 2-2. Inside, it hits her, and the bases are loaded. That's the 9th batter. As Gertz reaches, now bringing up Trebetsky. So now we have batted around, and there's still 2 outs. There's a strike called in the outside corner. If we ever get to the bottom of the 7th, the first 3 will be Campbell, Lowe, and Jessica Fay. 3, 4, and 5 for Brookdale. And honestly, if there's any 3 batters that Brookdale wants up in this situation, it's those 3. Again, I've circled Audra Lowe on my notes today just because of her 61 RBIs and 8 home runs. That's a swing and a miss, 1-2. Wavered at the changeup low. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Middlesex 14, Brookdale 10 in a high-scoring affair here in Gloucester County. No, 2-2. Just missed at the knees, and the inning will be extended for a little bit longer. 2-2 Pavlik briefly takes off and reapplies her face mask. 2-2. Swing and a miss. She is out, but the damage is done. Middlesex came into the inning looking for insurance, and they got it threefold. 3 runs in the top of the 7th. They now lead by 4. And in an unbelievable circumstance, after the first 4 innings of this game has been turned on its head. We'll be right back. Bottom of the 7th inning. Middlesex leads Brookdale 14-10. Strike called.
Number 12, Jaden
Campbell,
Campbell.
Lowe, and Jessica Fay. Oh, 1 hit out to shallow right center field. Diving in center. What a catch! Beautiful play in center field for the first out of the 7th in what has been a monumental game for Middlesex. They'll have this one in their history books for a long, long time if they can hang on. Campbell flies out to center. And now it's the lefty power bat, Audra Lowe. Lined over the shortstop's glove. It laces off the left center field wall. Picked up in left. No throw down to second, and parking it stably is Lowe, who picks up her 3rd hit of the day, her first extra base hit. And now here is Kelsey Bonilla. Or no, excuse me, this is Fay. Strike called. I apologize that time. That ball is hit on a pop-up, caught at second. 2 down. And let's take a look at that replay presented. First of all, that is our dog play of the game presented by the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, or Dog Pro Wrestling. Let's take a look.
Number 8, Maya Bonilla.
Just a good swing of the bat here out to right center. And hold on here. Went out of play. We had to cut from the replay real quick. Let's take a look at it one more time because we are on a bit of a time constraint. There you go. Fly ball to right center field. Starts the dive right there. Just a beautiful play in center field for the second out of the inning. 0-1. Strike called, 0-2. A double by Lowe puts a runner in scoring position, but Brookdale will need more than that. Racket, the 0-2. Ground ball in between third and short, picked up, and Middlesex has done the unbelievable. Mercy rule against the wall. They turn the game around. And in a 14-10 final score, they have made one of the most improbable comebacks that in my 8+ years of broadcasting that I have ever seen. Middlesex wins it 14-10, capped by a 3-run home run by Samira Ortiz. And hugs, high fives, and a jubilee set for Middlesex, as not only do they win game 2, they get to wait a little longer before they play in the winner's bracket versus Rowan College of South Jersey. Brookdale, however, will have a very quick turnaround, and that's where you get a little bit worried. They had a quick turnaround before, but now you have to play back-to-back with a 10-0 lead erased, and the memory of that game still very fresh in their minds. Middlesex will play RCSJ Gloucester in Game 4, and now Northampton will play the Brookdale Jersey Blues in an unlikely scenario here in Game 3. We'll be back in just a bit. Remember, follow the link on YouTube that says Loser's Bracket and then Winner's Bracket for Games 3 and 4 of this series. They will all be under separate live streams. That'll be all for us in Game 2. We'll be back in 25 to 30 minutes for Game 3 of this quadruple header.